Pain is not your enemy. It is your beginning. We are taught to avoid it, to suppress it, to hide our wounds under smiles and silence. But the truth is, every scar you carry is proof you survived something that was meant to destroy you. And within that pain lies power. The world can't touch, because the most powerful version of you is born the moment you stop running from what hurts and start leaning into it. You don't get stronger by escaping pain. You get stronger by confronting it, by walking into the fire of your life and refusing to be burned. Pain isn't punishment. It's preparation. It's the hand that carves depth into your soul so you can hold more strength, more wisdom, more purpose than you ever thought possible. Look at your life. Look at the battles you fought, the nights you cried in silence, the moments no one saw but that nearly broke you. And yet, you're still here. You're reading this, which means your pain didn't win. But here's the question. Did you just survive it? Or are you ready to use it? See, pain can do two things. It can crush you, or it can carve you into something unstoppable. The difference isn't in the pain, it's in the perspective. Most people break because they believe the pain is permanent. They think it defines them. But the ones who rise, who truly become something more, they understand this pain is a messenger. It's not there to paralyze you. It's there to teach you, to expose what's been buried, to push you into becoming, because you don't become resilient through comfort. You don't discover who you are when life is easy. You find out what you're made of when everything falls apart and you refuse to fall with it. This world respects power, but the real kind, not the loud kind, not the one built on control or dominance. The real power is silent. It's rooted. It's in the person who has suffered and still shows up, the one who walks through storms and doesn't flinch. That power can't be taught. It has to be earned in the battlefield of your own soul. And that battlefield, it's not out there. It's within. Every time you feel broken, betrayed, abandoned, that's not the end. That's the invitation. An invitation to stop being defined by what happened to you and start being defined by what you do with it. So many people let pain shrink them. They use it as an excuse to stay small, to live afraid, to protect themselves from ever feeling it again. But in doing so, they also block the power that pain could have awakened, because pain is not weakness. It's raw potential. And when you channel it, when you look it dead in the eyes and say, "You don't own me anymore," that's when the transformation begins. It's not about pretending you're okay. It's about refusing to stay broken. You've been hurt, but you're still breathing. You've been betrayed, but your heart still beats. You've failed, but your purpose still lives. So now, what are you going to do with it? You can either keep reliving your past, rehearsing your pain, and reinforcing your limits, or you can rebuild yourself from the rubble, brick by brick, scar by scar, choice by choice. That is the difference between those who merely survive life and those who transcend it. This is just the beginning. Do you know why pain keeps returning? Because you keep ignoring its message. You keep trying to silence it, numb it, outrun it. But pain doesn't disappear just because you pretend it's not there. It doesn't fade when you smile through it. It doesn't soften just because you keep saying, "I'm fine." No, pain waits. It waits for you to listen. Because pain is not there to punish you. It's there to point you somewhere. Somewhere deeper. Somewhere truer. Somewhere you were always meant to go. But here's the problem. We live in a world that fears depth. A world that worships distraction. That tells you to scroll it away. Drink it away. Medicate it away. Anything but face it. Anything but sit with it. But your healing lives inside the very thing you keep avoiding. You keep asking, "Why am I still stuck?" And the answer is simple, because you haven't gone through it. You've gone around it, over it, beneath it, but never through. And until you do, pain will keep knocking. It will keep haunting, not because it's cruel, but because it's calling you to stop hiding from yourself. Because deep down, you already know the version of you that can carry purpose, the version of you that walks in power, the version of you that commands respect. That version can't be built without fire. It's the pressure that forms the diamond. It's the crushing that releases the oil. It's the dark that teaches you how to shine. but you've got to stop seeing your pain as a curse. It's not. It's your catalyst. You want confidence. Go through pain. You want discipline. Go through pain. You want strength, vision, clarity, purpose. Go through pain. Not once, not perfectly, but fully. That's the difference. You don't heal by avoiding discomfort. You heal by going deeper than it. You heal when you stop trying to get rid of the pain and start trying to understand it. What is it trying to teach you? Maybe it's telling you that you've betrayed yourself for too long, that you've settled for less than you deserve, that you've been silent when you should have spoken, that you've been clinging to things and people and patterns that are slowly killing your spirit. Listen, pain doesn't show up randomly. It shows up when you're out of alignment. It shows up when your boundaries have been broken, when your worth has been buried, when your soul is screaming, "This is not the life we were meant to live." So stop numbing it. Let it speak. Let it burn off everything that isn't you. Because pain is not the enemy of your purpose. It's the doorway. And yes, you were built to walk through that fire and come out transformed. You think you're weak because you cry in silence. You think you're broken because you feel deeply. No, that's where your greatness lives. That's where your real self is buried. You want to make pain your power, then stop asking, "Why me?" Start asking, "What now? What now that I've been hurt? What now that I've seen the truth? What now that I can't unfeel what I've felt? Do I shrink or do I rise? Do I stay small or do I start building? Do I let the world silence me or do I finally speak?" That's your choice. That's your turning point. And the most powerful people in this world, the ones who walk into rooms with presence, the ones who can't be shaken, those are not the ones who avoided pain. They're the ones who mastered it. They took their trauma, their grief, their betrayal, their heartbreak, and they built a life on top of it. A life with roots deeper than fear. A life that no one else could break, because it was forged in fire. And that is the life that waits for you. But only if you're willing to step into the pain and say, "You don't own me anymore." What if I told you that every excuse you've ever made was just fear in disguise? Fear that you're not good enough. Fear that it's too late. Fear that if you try again, you'll fail again. So instead of stepping forward, you shrink. You rationalize. You say things like, "I'll do it when I'm ready. I'm waiting for the right time. I just don't feel like myself lately." But here's the truth. The right time never comes. You think one day you'll wake up without fear, without pain, without doubt. You won't. And that's not because something's wrong with you. It's because you're human. Fear is a signal, not a stop sign. It's not there to paralyze you. It's there to prepare you. And pain is your proof that there's something inside you worth protecting. That ache in your chest, that emptiness in your stomach, that weight on your shoulders, they're not weaknesses. They're signs. Warnings, messages from your future self telling you, you can't stay here anymore. So why do you keep returning to places that drain you? Why do you keep fighting battles that leave you empty? Why do you keep entertaining people who only love you when you're easy? Because pain is familiar. That's the hard truth. You've made a home out of your suffering. You've gotten comfortable in dysfunction. And the idea of something new, even if it's better, is terrifying. Because at least with pain, you know what to expect. At least with pain, you don't have to risk more disappointment. But that safety, it's killing you slowly. It's keeping you small. It's convincing you that survival is the same as living. And it's not. You were not put here to endure life. You were put here to shape it, to mold it with your will, to bend your reality, not be broken by it. And yes, pain will be part of that process. It has to be. Because every breakthrough is born through some kind of suffering. There's no elevation without excavation. You have to dig through everything that hurt you to reach everything that can heal you. And that takes courage. Not the loud kind. Not the kind that shows off. The quiet kind. The kind that stands up every single morning even when your heart is still heavy. The kind that walks into the fire without knowing what's on the other side. The kind that says, "Even if I'm afraid, I'm moving anyway." Because motion is how you kill the excuse. Action is how you kill the lie. Pain wants you to believe that you're too broken to try. But trying is the very thing that starts to fix you. Not instantly, not perfectly, but piece by piece, day by day, scar by scar. You have to become the person who moves anyway, who shows up anyway, who keeps going when every part of you says give up. That's how you take your power back. You reclaim it from the wreckage, from the shattered dreams, from the failures that once whispered, "You're not enough." Because you are. You always were. But you let the pain convince you otherwise. And now, it's time to remember who you are underneath all that hurt. Not the mask, not the act. You. The one who still has breath. The one who still has time. The one who still has a future to write. So write it. No more waiting. No more wallowing. No more saying one day. Today is that day. Start with what you have. Start where you are. Start even if your hands shake and your voice trembles. Because if pain built the cage, then action is the key, and you're holding it. There is a moment that comes in everyone's life. A moment when the pain becomes louder than your excuses. A moment when you can no longer pretend that staying broken is easier than trying to rebuild. That moment is sacred, because it's not the end. It's the beginning. It's the birth of transformation, the death of victimhood, the spark that ignites everything inside you that's been asleep for far too long. You might be there right now, at that edge, where you're so tired of suffering that you either break down completely or break through entirely. And the truth is, you can break through, but only if you stop clinging to your pain like it's your identity. You're not your heartbreak. You're not your trauma. You're not the abandonment, or the betrayal, or the failure. You're not the chapter where it all fell apart. You are the author, and the pen is still in your hand. But as long as you keep rereading the past, you can't write the future. You've spent enough time memorizing your wounds. Now it's time to turn them into wisdom. You've suffered enough. Now it's time to step into your strength. But that shift doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you decide, with every fiber of your being, that pain will not be your prison. It will be your platform, that you're not going to let your history hijack your destiny. And I know it's hard, because pain doesn't just live in your memories, it lives in your habits. It becomes the way you think, the way you speak, the way you treat yourself. It tells you not to try again, not to trust again, not to hope again. But you must, because if you don't, the pain wins, and it doesn't deserve to. You do. You deserve to win. You deserve to feel joy again, without guilt, to look in the mirror and not see a failure but a fighter, a survivor, someone who didn't give up when it would have been easier to, someone who is rising, not because life got easier but because you got stronger. Every scar on your body, every battle in your mind, every tear you've cried in silence, they were not meaningless. They were shaping you, training you, making you unbreakable from the inside out. But here's the shift you have to make. Stop using pain as a reason to play small. Use it as your reason to go big. Let it become your hunger. Let it become your drive. Let it remind you of everything you never want to feel again. And let that fire push you toward everything you deserve to feel. Because when you start using pain instead of letting pain use you, you become dangerous. In the best way. You walk differently. You speak differently. You carry yourself with a quiet strength that comes from having been to hell and choosing to rise anyway. People will ask you, how did you do it? And you'll look them in the eyes and say, I stopped letting my pain be the story. I made it the fuel. This is your turning point. No one is coming to save you, but no one can stop you either. Not when you realize your pain isn't your curse, it's your power. Pain reveals the truth no one wants to admit. You either grow from it, or you decay inside of it. And here's the part most people miss. Healing is not soft. Healing is war. It's waking up every morning and dragging yourself out of the pit your past built for you. It's facing the voices that say you'll never be enough and replying with I already am. It's not just crying. It's clawing your way back to the light, with blood on your knuckles and hope in your breath. It's refusing to let the darkness define you. You see, when you're broken, you're open, wide open. And that's where the rebuilding starts. Not when you've got it all figured out, not when life hands you ease, but when you've got nothing left but fight. And the fight is in you. It always has been. But you've let the pain speak too loud for too long. You've let the loss narrate your worth. You've let the betrayal teach you not to trust. But there is something sacred in choosing, after all that, to still believe in yourself, to still believe that you were meant for more than just surviving. Because pain doesn't visit the powerless, it visits the chosen, the ones strong enough to hold it, strong enough to burn in it, and still rise anyway. You might think your pain is the end of you, but it might be the edge where your real life begins. When your old self dies, not by accident, but by intention. When you bury your excuses, your patterns, your comfort zone, and you step into a new version of yourself built by fire and clarity. People won't understand. They'll say you changed, and you did, because pain will either harden you or sharpen you, and you've chosen to let it sharpen you, to chisel you into something stronger, more focused, more fearless than you've ever been. You've chosen to meet your pain with purpose, to tell your suffering, "Thank you for the lesson, now get out of the way," because there's a new chapter calling, a higher version of you that's no longer willing to shrink for fear of more pain. That's the secret the world won't tell you. Greatness isn't born in comfort, it's born in discomfort, in the pressure, in the sleepless nights where you rewrite your future in the dark. That's where the strong are forged, not in the ease, but in the endurance, not in the applause, but in the silence, and not in the wins, but in the wounds. If you're bleeding, it means you're still alive. And if you're still alive, it means the story isn't over. So don't close the book just because the chapter hurt. Write the next one. Write it in bold. Write it in truth. Write it with pain as your power. Because you've got more fight left in you. And the world hasn't even seen your final form. The moment you stop fearing pain is the moment you become dangerous, not reckless, unstoppable. Because when pain no longer holds power over you, what can? Criticism. You've heard worse in your own mind. Rejection. You've survived the silence that followed. Failure. You've already tasted rock bottom and found it wasn't the end. It was a doorway. That's the shift. You stop seeing pain as something to avoid and start seeing it as a compass, a guide, a spotlight shining directly on the place where growth is waiting. The truth is, most people don't fear pain, they fear change, because pain doesn't just break the body, it breaks the illusions. It shows you the lies you've believed for too long, that you're not worthy, that you're not capable, that you're not enough. But when pain rips through those lies, what's left? The real you, the raw, unedited, no more masks version of yourself. The one who's not here to be liked or accepted or approved. The one who's here to live fully, deeply, powerfully. You want strength? Stop looking for a life without struggle. Start building a mind that doesn't run from it. Start building a soul that doesn't break in the presence of difficulty, but rises. Because pain will always knock, but it's your choice whether it finds you curled in fear or standing tall at the door, eyes wide open, saying, "Come in, teach me something." People run from pain because they think it's weakness, but they're wrong. Pain is a mirror. It shows you who you really are when everything is stripped away. No titles, no image, no filters, just you. And if you're still standing, after all the heartbreak, the losses, the betrayals, the nights you couldn't breathe, you're already stronger than you think. You just forgot. So remember now, you were never meant to stay down. You were never meant to stay wounded. You were never meant to stay silent. You were meant to rise, to rebuild, to reclaim every part of yourself that pain tried to take. Because your scars aren't shameful, they're sacred. Proof that you kept going when most would have quit. Proof that you were forged in fire and came out brighter. This is where the shift happens. This is where you stop running and start walking toward the very thing that once broke you, not to suffer again, but to take back everything it tried to steal. Your peace, your confidence, your voice, your power. You want to make pain your power, then stop begging for the pain to end and start using it as fuel to become unbreakable. Pain has one goal: to wake you up, to shake you so hard that your old self cracks open, because sometimes that's the only way we grow. not in the comfort, not in the applause, not when everything is working, but in the dark, in the silence, in the confusion that follows heartbreak, betrayal, and failure. That's where you discover the pieces of you that comfort kept buried, pieces of strength, of resilience, of vision, pieces that only rise when the world around you falls apart. But here's the real shift. You don't just survive pain, you absorb it, you transmute it, you transform it into something greater, because once pain moves through you, and you refuse to let it make you bitter, it sharpens you, it gives you clarity, it makes you aware of every wasted second, every fake friendship, every moment you betrayed yourself just to be liked. It sobers your soul, it whispers, you've got one life, use it well. Pain doesn't just teach you strength, it teaches you truth. It pulls the curtain back on your habits, shows you where you've been hiding, reveals who's real and who's only around when it's easy. And when you finally stop numbing the pain, when you stop avoiding the lessons, you emerge, different, wiser, fierce in a quiet way, not loud, not boastful, but grounded, confident, unapologetically whole. Because now you know that pain wasn't there to destroy you, it was there to strip away the lies, to remind you of your power. And now you don't fear pain. Whoa! You look it in the eye, you nod, and you walk forward anyway. That's what most people will never understand. They think power comes from being untouchable, but true power comes from being touched by life, broken by it, and still choosing to rise, to show up, to love again, to believe again, to try again. You want to make pain your power, then stop asking for an easy life. Ask for a strong soul. Ask for deep wisdom. Ask for divine fire, because the ones who go the furthest in life aren't the ones who avoided pain. They're the ones who welcomed it as a teacher. And now they walk with a different energy, a quiet force, an unshakable presence, because they know what they've survived, they know what they've endured, and most importantly, they know who they are now, not because someone told them, but because pain revealed it. Now you know the truth. Pain was never your enemy. It was your awakening, a gift wrapped in darkness, a storm sent to tear apart everything false, so you could rebuild in truth, because the old you was never meant to last. The version of you that tolerated disrespect, that feared failure, that begged for approval, that buried dreams just to avoid discomfort, that version had to go, and pain made sure of it. It came to burn the bridges that were keeping you small, to collapse the safe houses you built inside fear, to whisper, you are not done yet. So you rose, not perfectly, not without scars, but with a spine made of conviction, with boundaries that don't bend, with clarity that cuts through noise. You rose knowing that survival is not the goal, transformation is. And now, every scar tells your story, a story of someone who was tested and refused to break, a story of someone who cried, but kept walking, fell, but got back up stronger, lost, but found something deeper. This is your power now, and no one can take it, because it's built in the silence, the solitude, the late-night prayers no one else hears, in the moments when you almost gave up, but didn't. So from here on, carry your pain like armor. Let it remind you how far you've come. Let it drive you to speak with more purpose, to love with more presence, to live with more fire. Because nothing is wasted, not a single tear, not a single failure, not a single moment of doubt. It all built the unshakable force you are now. And if you're still healing, let this remind you, the pain doesn't last, but what you build from it does. So act like the battle is already won, walk like the healing is already finished, speak like the blessing is already yours, because the most powerful version of you, they don't wait for the perfect moment, they create it from ashes, from scars, from silence. So here's your call to action. No more running from the pain. No more asking why me. Instead, ask what is this teaching me? What is this building in me? And then move. Move like you were chosen for this path. Because you were. Not everyone survives what you did. Not everyone transforms like you can. So don't waste your survival. Don't shrink now. You've come too far. You've seen too much. You've endured. Now it's time to elevate. Make your pain your power. Let your wounds speak wisdom. Let your struggle shape legacy. And if this message spoke to your soul, if it reminded you of your strength, your purpose, your fight, Then take the next step. Leave a comment below and write, "I choose to rise," because this isn't the end of your story. It's the moment everything finally begins. Make pain your power, and never look back.